to the RMW Rock My World podcast. I'm Tony Fennell, and let me introduce you to my two co-hosts. Out in Chicago, we've got Mr. Chuck Masak. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm just dealing with fall and winter. We're fall with winter shortly behind it.
Oh, I love it. Around the corner.
I like it, but the winter part of it, as my age gets older, it's not as fun. I don't mind. I love fall. Fall's my favorite season.
Well, hopefully you won't have fallen and I can't get up. No, I'll stop that joke. That was terrible. All right. And holding down the fort or even the castle in the UK, we've got Mr. Mike Litson. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, man. Golden.
Yes. Feeling good?
For the most part.
You sound very Britishy today. I like it.
Pip, pip, tally ho.
Woohoo! All right, fellas, here we go. I'm moving away from England. The American football season is a month in, and people are already talking about this year's Super Bowl, both its halftime show and, of course, the singing of the national anthem. Well, Slipknot's Corey Taylor has been very vocal lately, saying that the representation of rock and metal at the Super Bowl is long overdue. I have to agree. But anyway, Taylor took to social media to show support for Disturbed singer David Draymond, who has hopes of singing the national anthem before next year's American football event. Draymond said in an interview recently that he dreamed of doing the Super Bowl his entire life, and Corey Taylor gave him some serious love, guys, on social media channels, saying it's long overdue for rock and metal to be represented in the Super Bowl, and captioned the post, "Let's make our voices heard in support of our brother David Draymond of Disturbed and let NFL know we want him to sing the anthem." So he's got a point. So my question to my co-hosts is, has music been overlooked when it comes to America's biggest sporting event of the year? Chuck, straight in with you, mate. Has it?
Well, music hasn't been overlooked, but good music has.
Oh, wow. I felt that was like a shot to the heart. Excuse me. That was a Bon Jovi reference. But so what do you think?
I mean, we've been neglecting rock. I mean, it's not fully neglected, but I mean, looking at the past the list of Super Bowl, performances. I mean, you had Maroon 5 and Travis Scott with Big Boy.
That was garbage, by the way.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake. I mean, I love Justin Timberlake, but Lady Gaga the year before that, Coldplay, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Mark Ronson. I mean, that's just a conglomerate of pop people. And the year before that, Katy Perry, Missy Elliott with Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars and Chili Peppers before that, which was cool.
Didn't Meatloaf do it, or was that like a different sport?
I don't think that was... The year before that was Beyonce and Destiny's Child. The year before that was Madonna.
I think Meatloaf did the Nathan hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, maybe. Year before that.
No. It was the I think it was the World Series. I just had a quick Google.
I mean,
baseball. Yeah.
Black Eyed Peas before that, and then the Who in 2010, which is such a weird one. I love the Who. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
So the 2010s had the Who and the Chili Peppers,
right?
So far, and everything else has been pop, dance.
Well, you'd have to think that the ratings must have gone down after that for them to just say, right, well, we've done the rock slot, we'll leave it. And it's always interesting, Mike. You don't live here, and Chuck and I, we watch the sport. We watch all sport, but I mean, on Sundays, I think every single segue from when because there's 258,000 adverts in the middle of a
well, NFL's designed for commercials, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you something. This is where it gets interesting. Rock is so prevalent. That's why every time it stops, it's like, come on. You don't hear, it's very, very, very rock orientated when it comes to the segue music. Am I right, Chuck? It's like they're using the big guitars.
It's all hard rock. Yeah, it's all big power.
Right. Rock. I mean, and any country tune they used is a country tune based on a rock song. So it's pretty interesting that basically when it comes to the biggest event of the year, when it comes to American sports, it's basically thrown to the wayside. And, it is interesting to me.
I mean, it's strange over here because, we don't really have any of that, like, extra pageantry around our games.
How does that work with true football?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just doesn't exist.
I mean, I watch it every weekend. I watch EPL every weekend because I'm a soccer fanatic, but I don't notice this whole circle of other entertainment being engulfed in it.
With rugby, you sometimes so there's two types of rugby, but in one of them they do tend to have cheerleaders, and that's about as far as it goes, to be honest. And even then, it's kind of just like, nobody cares. But you know, our sports functionally last a much shorter period of time. I mean, like, how long does an NFL game stretch over? And I'm not talking about the playing time. I'm talking about from start to finish.
So it starts at 1 o'clock. So basically, you know, if I'm watching the Giants, who are my team, so if the Giants start at 1 o'clock, the game starts at 1 o'clock. You're basically putting your kids to bed at 10:30 in the evening by the time the adverts are finished. No, it starts at 1 and it's all over around 3:30. It goes on forever.
Yeah,
I mean, it really just doesn't end, and it's actually unwatchable at times. But there's a lot of time to get music in, you know, and a lot of artists are very grateful for those 30,000 adverts that appear, because every time it comes on, tick, thank you very much indeed. There's a check in the mail. But it's interesting to me that there really is a real void when it comes to rock music. When it comes to that Super Bowl, every lead up to the gang girl, next up is J-Lo. It's like, hang on a minute, there was a huge rock segue there, and we've got J-Lo dancing. I don't know.
Isn't it? But doesn't it seem like it's just that way in life in general? I mean, looking at the past Super Bowl people from the early 2000s, it was all rock. 2009 was Springsteen. The year before, Tom Petty. The year before that's Prince. And at the end of the day, he's a rock and roll guy. The year before that, the Rolling Stones. The year before that, Paul McCartney. The year before that, okay, we had Jessica Simpson. Shania Twain, no doubt.
I mean, I guess it comes back to the artist size in general. Because, I mean, it's the same thing that we keep coming back to, is there's no mega... You know, there's a limited amount of mega rock acts these days, and half of them have probably already done it, or they've done MLB, or they've done one of the other ones.
Well, the big thing here is that the Disturbed singer David Draymond, he's like, let me sing the anthem, and that guy's got pipes.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's a unique voice, though, isn't it? It's like, maybe that's going a bit too far on the edge.
But he doesn't even want to do. He doesn't want to do the halftime show. He just wants to sing the anthem.
Just wants the anthem, exactly. And you know, I can remember being at a game in at Madison Square Gardens where it was the Knicks versus the Toronto Raptors, and Geddy Lee sang the anthem. Wasn't great, by the way. It wasn't great. And you know, I looked at that and I thought, yeah, this is interesting, because even then I was thinking, who sings the national anthem at these huge footballing events? And it's generally like a gospel singer, or it's very rare you hear a guy with the husky voice giving it some, and perhaps wearing a big black leather coat and looking.
I mean, but if it starts with ooh I'm in.
Oh, I like that, Mike.
Yeah, you know, he wouldn't do that. I mean, that's just, as much as it sounds like he has respect for the national anthem, he wouldn't disturb it. Yeah, no pun intended.
That was actually great, by the way.
I like that too. I mean, it would be excellent though if he did, wouldn't it? Like in a viral moment.
It would be great if the NFL hired very open-minded music director, music purchasing agents, or whatever, that says, yeah, this year we're going to do hip hop. This year we're going to do pop. This year we're going to do rock. This year we're going to do harder rock. We're going to do Metallica. Like, they've been the one that everybody has always wanted to see.
Well, it's a family event, and this is where you have to get into.
Then you know what? Get rid of the halftime show.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, everybody watches for the adverts, because there's some fantastic adverts they put together, and they pay an insane amount of money to make sure that people see them. But I mean, it's a family show. I mean, can you imagine the Prodigy doing "Smack Your Bitch Up" at the halftime?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, there's plenty of big popular rock bands. I mean, you could have. You know, I mean, they're just even not even hard rock, but just rock bands being more, and not making it such a fiasco. Like, let's intertwine country, rock, and rap all at the same time on the stage. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to facilitate all the people listening, but it never works. For me, it never works out. I don't even watch those halftime shows. I watch I watch them on YouTube after after somebody puts them up there.
Oh, it's painful to get through the game. It really is. And, they worried. I actually, you can't help but think that they worry about the rockers doing something egregious or outrageous on live television. Wasn't there a case where Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson had a bit of a malfunction?
I was going to say the famous Janet Jackson.
Give me a break. Everybody's up there for one reason, and it's to absolutely give their career a bolster. It's like, it's boost time, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, yes, you get paid a lot of money for doing it, but all of a sudden people start going, oh, and they go online and they do what most people do. They start downloading tracks, and whether it's a free view on YouTube or whether it's somebody downloading some digital content, it's always a bump. It's always a big spike in your listening audience. Would you not say that's the truth?
Yeah, and as long as it's someone that's not, OTT. I mean, look, you don't want Ozzy doing it, do you? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, by the looks of it, you may not get Ozzy to do it. I mean, is it me? That's a nice segue, by the way, Mike. Is it me, or is it Ozzy has been given he may not last till Christmas? And in England, they will bet on anything. A guy walking down the street, will he go right or will he go left? You can put a bet on that. On football players, how many guys will walk out with, because in England they have all these crazy numbers on the back, 10, 15. It used to be 1 to 11, and that was what was on the pitch. Now it's, everybody wears 88 or 44 or whatever. You can bet on anything. You can bet on the amount of the whole number of on the back of the shirts, the combined amount of numbers on the back. It's just crazy. It never ends. But the bets are in that Ozzy won't last till Christmas. What do you think about that? Is that doable?
I mean, yeah, you're right. Places like Paddy Power will let you, bet on anything. # not sponsored. But I mean, it seems that Sharon Osbourne's a bit upset about the whole.
Please, she set the whole thing up.
You think? I mean,
1,000%.
I mean, to be fair, he's like, he has had a bit of a rough year, hasn't he? Like, it seems that he's been in and out of hospital, pretty regularly with. But I mean, the thing is, he's old, and from what I can gather, none of them were really like, anything beyond what you just expect of an old dude to get. Like, one was flu that became pneumonia. It's like, okay, well, that happens. One was he had a fall. And it's like, again, okay,
listen,
that happens.
He's the golden goose. He's the golden goose. You can't have Ozzy sitting down. Clap, Seal, clap. I mean, poor Ozzy. I mean, he hasn't had the chance to be sick. He gave up drugs and drink, and Sharon was like, "All right, now get to work." I mean, that's
he's on tour again next year. He's meant to be out again in like January and February with who is he? He's touring with Judas Priest, isn't it? Yeah, that's it.
Well, you know what? They will wheel him out, and on the same subject, I'm sure you guys have seen these images. Phil Collins, have you seen it?
No, I read it. I saw it. He was in a wheelchair.
It's frightening. It looks like a little old man, and he's doing a lot of those shows. They're wheeling him out, and he's doing it from a chair. And there was a show, I think, in Florida of last week where the poor guy fell over.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he should. For his own health, he should stop. But probably it's keeping him going, if I'm being honest. I mean, he was a boozer. He had a really, really, really big drink problem for many, many, many years. And maybe it's caught up with him, and his liver has said, you know what, mate, it's been a good run. Let's give it a rest. But he's still out there. I think his son's playing drums. And Phil's out there still trying to knock it out. But he looked so sick, and I'm sure there's people listening right now that will agree. It's a matter of time. Well, it's very sad to say that.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is we're at that stage of the time of people's ages. I mean, we had Ginger Baker passing away last week, which was huge. And then,
the mere fact, Chuck, that he's alive was huge.
Oh yeah, and then you had the guy from Leonard Skinner passed away yesterday or a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're every week we have something.
Yeah.
And these are all old age. Or older age, deaths. It's not, or suicides or whatever.
And guess who's out there still touring and ticking on? Keith Richards.
Yep.
Oh well, come on. He's he's more embalming liquid than man at this point, isn't he?
It's absolutely crazy.
He's more embalming.
He's defying medical science. That guy. I mean, it's like what?
Yeah, like the fact that honestly he's going to outlive me, right? That's what's going to happen. I can see it.
Oh well, as you say, they wheel him out, and he looks 280 years old, but for some reason they can't can't get rid of that guy.
He looks old, but he doesn't look decrepit.
That's a really, really good point, Chuck. You're right. He looks like he's still got his.
He looks healthy. I mean, he doesn't. He looks old but healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he's earned those lines on his face, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Genie wish gone wrong. Yeah, I wish to be immortal, but not decrepit. But no one said anything about your skin aging.
Well, he liked his drugs, but more importantly, he liked his drink. And if I can segue quickly into my drink thing here. And actually, and the same thing with the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is like the consumption of drinks goes up tenfold, and I think the incidence of domestic violence go up something like 200%. It's a terrible stat, but it's the truth. I think it's the wife getting in the way of the TV and lunatics who have had too much to drink saying, "Oh, get out the way!" Anyway, but right in time for the Mammoth event, rock legends Alice in Chains are releasing, and here we go again, guys. A 101 proof bourbon, which will age for 6 months in a tequila barrel for an extra shot of spice. This limited edition drink is called All Secrets Known, which, of course, is the title to the opening song of the band's 2009 album, Black Gives Way to Blue. Another gimmick or a band cashing in on something they love? What do you think, Chuck? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, they're cashing in. I mean, they're doing well on their tours and stuff, but I'm sure their album sales aren't huge, and you got to subsidize that income somehow.
I mean, who's next? I mean, when I saw that,
we did that one podcast and we went through the list. There's not very many left to not do it.
Who hasn't done it? Keith Richards.
No, those guys have had to have done something.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe what he should do is he should start packing away the vials of blood so we can get his white blood cells, because they're obviously working overtime.
That would be, that he would become a billionaire.
Oh, please. So, yeah, I'm not feeling that great. We've actually got a vial of Keith Richards' blood. That should give you put it in. Get it done, please.
Friggin' Dracula.
But yeah, there is really no bands left. I'm waiting for like Justin Bieber to do one or something next. It's going to move on from rock, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to. There's nothing else left.
Well, they can't sell drugs. Oh, actually, they do sell drugs. So didn't they just open that marijuana cafe?
We need a Chris Brown ale. That's what we need.
Yeah, we do. Did you say a Chris Brown or a crisp Brown?
I said a Chris Brown ale.
Oh, I like it.
maybe slightly spicy.
And it gives you a whack at the end.
That's what you need.
But didn't they just open that like a marijuana cafe? And all you do is you go in there and you just smoke and toke. I think Miley Cyrus has got something to do with it, and I think it opened. I don't even know where it probably opened up in either maybe Denver or Los Angeles or something like that. But people are making cash in any way they possibly can, and that is the next big bastion right there. I mean, pot sales are through the roof here in the United States because it's legal everywhere. Not everywhere, but it's doing this thing. What about Chicago? What is Chicago? Are they started yet?
It's legal. I don't know what. I mean, since I'm not really a user, I don't follow it, but I know. I think that it's been legalized, but the distiller, or what do they call them? The dispensaries have not. That still needs to be worked out. I don't think you can't buy it yet, but
I think it's interesting that none of the big rock bands have put their moniker on a.
Well, I mean, guys are getting into CBD oil. I mean, what was the Five Finger Death Punch?
Oh yeah,
that's that thing going.
It's still such a weird one, man. The state of play with that in the US. Like I never thought that the US would legalize that stuff before the UK.
I'm in full agreement with you there.
Yeah, it was a strange one. Well, you know why? I mean, I remember being in Chicago working, and I met up with a lawyer, and basically the lawyer had explained to me that all the high-powered lawyers in Chicago, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he was just mouthing off, but they were saying basically that what they'd done is they'd gone out and they'd already bought the rights to open up these CBD oil and pot chains just in case it became legalized. They knew it was coming. So basically they went in and they are making a killing.
Well, and that's one of the, I have a couple friends who dabble in the stock market, and everybody that I know is watching the stock market on the pot companies.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that I know around here, same thing, Chuck, and they've already made a nice tidy sum.
Oh yeah, it's just going up. It's just at the beginning stages.
Well, there's a place here in Massachusetts where I'm at, and it's in a small town. And let me tell you, they opened up, and they're on a weekend. There are lines around the block, and they're pulling in $11 to $12 million on the weekends.
Wow.
I mean, it is, when I say around the block, I mean a good mile long, and it starts at 8 a.m. and it ends at 9 p.m. and it's just open and just doesn't close, and it's one after another, after another, after another. In fact, they opened up and they were so big that they sold out. They sold to another company somewhere in like Wisconsin. Within 3 months of them opening them up, they came in and they were bought out for a massive profit. That will show you the power of owning one of those franchises. Are any of those open in England, Mike?
I believe you would be swiftly jailed.
You mean they don't have those cigarette machines that they don't use anymore in the bars? They dispense pot.
No, all right. Hey, dude, they're illegal now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, but they're probably still set in the back of the bar. So, bring them out, stick them on the wall, get shut down. But hey, how much money could you make on a weekend? Thank you very much. Listen to some Alice in Chains, have a big old bourbon, and away you go.
Yeah, I mean, so actually, segue. Speaking of, speaking of drugs and music, have you seen the Courtney Love stuff popping back up?
Let me guess. She needs to make money, so she's going to go on tour.
You basically nailed it.
We don't know for sure. I mean, the cryptic messages that were out. I would love to see Olga back together. I've been a fan. I wasn't a fan when they first came out, but I became a fan later.
Corrigan went in there and sorted it out. He splashed some serious production on it, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, come on.
No, it's just good rock and roll. I mean, punky rock.
Let's be honest. As Reformation rumors go, the fact that two of the members have been sat there saying in interviews that reunions have been talked about and that they'd like to do it. So you've got Oath Damar, or however you say her name, mm-hmm. and Love both saying that in Visions magazine and The Guardian respectively. Then you add that onto the Instagram posts, which were basically showing what appeared to be a rehearsal, which were then of course swiftly deleted. It's kind of like, okay, this is looking pretty likely.
What's interesting on that is that Courtney deleted it, and then somebody else posted it because they saved it and they put it up, and Courtney liked it.
Yeah, I know.
On her thing, and then started commenting to people's responding to people's comments.
I'm just not sure if she's relevant anymore. Yes, the songs are pretty darn good, but she spends most of her time chasing people messing with her husband's legacy. I mean, let's be honest here. She was great in the Larry Flint movie, and that one whole album which Billy Corrigan. This is just my opinion, but the one album that Billy Corrigan produced. I mean, there were some smashes on there. I mean, absolutely killer songs. But since then, really. Courtney Love?
But we say this, but there's kind of a clamoring from a lot of sort of media outlets and people around that kind of area for more female representation and all this kind of thing. And rather than something new coming about, simply dusting off an old one would certainly have the press in those sort of niches quite happy.
Well, yes, but answer me this. Courtney Love or Shirley Manson? She can actually sing. She can sing, and she's got the look.
I would take Manson over her in a heartbeat. But at the end of the day, I'll take anything with guitars, drums, bass, and vocals, and not a bunch of bullshit. That's like I think I would love if Hole doesn't just do a handful of reunion shows. Get in the freaking studio and make another record. Like people, we need. I mean, if nobody new is going to do it, then somebody old needs to do it.
I think that us three should start a petition to get Courtney Love to sing this year's national anthem at the Super Bowl.
Oh, fuck, no.
that would be interesting.
I think that might make me watch the halftime show.
I say, Mike, get on social, get it sorted.
Yeah, oh bloody hell.
Well, there's a poll for you. I wonder how that would go down. Good Lord. All right, well, look, guys, as always, you're a wealth of complete and utter nonsense, just like myself. I love this. We have a weekly chance to catch up on the news. As always, to everybody out there, thank you for listening today. And do us a favor, please. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. Don't forget that. And you can catch all of our episodes on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, InTune Radio, and Stitcher. From all of us here at Rock My World, see you next time, people, and thank you.